comes up. Never comes up. And this is School Board Association Day on the Hill, and never once they talked about that. They talked about vouchers, of course, and the fact that they're worried that does take money away from public schools. And I'm not convinced that. Once again, there are very few public schools in private schools in Northeast Tennessee, and those are done mostly because people want a religious Christian schooling rather than public schools. So I think in the areas where people are very satisfied with their public schools, and they are in my area, in Northeast Tennessee, the vouchers and the charter schools are just irrelevant. It's in places where people aren't as satisfied, and rightfully so, when they're on a failing list for 10 years in a row, and that's where these types of issues come. And I'll say none of this is the magic bullet. I think that us doing the teacher evaluations, I think us making tenure something you earn, not automatically given to you, that's much more important in the great scheme of things than vouchers, than the charter schools. But all that lumped together, I think, is the reason that we see test scores rising in the state of Tennessee.
Do you think Nashville or the state should have the final say on a charter school?
Well, I think that again, that in the end it ought to be local control. But there ought to be triggers within that if you blatantly don't follow the statute as they did, then it comes down to the state then. But every possible way ought to be for that local to do it and let them make a proper decision. And I don't mean the proper decision. If you set up guidelines and somebody meets these guidelines, you're supposed to approve them. That's the way it works, and they didn't.
Well, I'm sure you've seen or heard about John Harris's latest